Good evening, everyone. Today we have to discuss the basic block diagram of a computer system. In this course, we have to discuss different type of component of a computer, what are the application of a computer, different kind of input-output device, and different kind of memory, and also the different generation in the computer system. Now, at the very first, what is the computer? In generally in our mind this computer is something in the workspace. We can see the desktop, laptop, server, this kind of thing. Now computer is something we can say this is in our daily life. Your smartphone is a computer, your tablet is a computer, and even your smartwatch is a computer. They are doing different kind of job. They are giving, but they are giving the same information and store the data. Now we have to discuss the four basic component of a computer system. Now there is first is the input unit. Input unit is nothing but a input which can take information from us. Maybe we can say this is keyboard is a one kind of input, mouse is a one kind of input, and the output unit is something like that which gives some output from the computer, like your printer, like your monitor. And now we have to discuss the central processing unit, the CPU. CPU is the main working functional job which is communicate to the input unit and the output unit and the memory unit. And last one is the memory unit. In whatever we have to store the data, we have to some location where we can store. So the memory unit is the such kind of unit where we can store the data. Now in the next slide we have to discuss the basic component and the basic block diagram of a computer system. Now we know that input device is connected to the computer, that is the CPU, and the output device is also connected to the computer. Now there is the central processing unit is divided mainly in the two part. CU, that is called the control unit, and the next one is the arithmetic logic unit. CU is communicate between the input device and the output device and the memory unit. What is the exact job of this particular device? Whatever the exact instruction is come from which device. Now the arithmetic and logic unit is working different kind of arithmetic operation and the logical operation. Now after the arithmetic and logical operation, we can communicate whatever we have to store the data. This data is goes to the memory unit. So whatever the result is come is permanently stored in the memory unit. So here we have to discuss different kind of input. There is a keyboard, mouse, touchpad, web camera, microphone, joystick. This is all the input unit of a computer system. Some output unit is monitor, speaker, printer, and headphone is your output unit. Now we have to discuss the memory. Mainly memory are divided into two parts. First is the volatile memory and second part is the non-volatile memory. Volatile memory is such kind of memory, if you turn off our computer system, it will erase the all data. It's remove all the information of the memory system. The example of the volatile memory is the RAM, cache, and the register. Now for the non-volatile memory, we can think that it can store the permanently storage data. Something like that, SSD, solid state drive, hard disks, any kind of pen drive, USB sticks, this all in the part of the non-volatile memory. In the next slide, we have to discuss the basic block diagram of a memory system. Now here we have see that at the very bottom layer there is the hard disk or the secondary memory. Now secondary memory is a non-volatile memory, so it can store data permanently. But the speed of the hard disk in respect to the CPU is very less. For high speed of the data transfer, we have to use the RAM, which is called the main memory. We have to use the cache. We have to use the register. And from the register, CPU took the data and processed the data. So register data speed is equivalent to the CPU system processor. In this slide, we have to discuss how can we communicate between this data. So, initially, there is the register which is connected to the CPU. There is the cache memory, there is the primary memory or RAM, and there is the secondary memory. Suppose you have to just turn on your computer. Now we know that register, cache memory and RAM, these all are the volatile memory. So if this is a volatile memory, that means when you turn on your computer, on that time this memory is free. Now it's searching in the secondary memory and copy it from the RAM, copy from cache and register, and it work. Give one example. Suppose you just click the Firefox button. When you click the Firefox button, at the very first, Firefox is not available in the register, not available in the cache, not available in the primary memory, but it available in the C drive of your hard disk. It's just copy from the hard disk to RAM, RAM to cache, cache to register, and CPU will just work on the Firefox system. Here we have discussed the different kind of application of a computer system. Now where we can apply in the different location, in the different part, we have to use the computer system. Any business, any banking sector, education, marketing, any communication, and the government sector. If you consider for the business, then the payroll calculation, financial forecasting, managing employee, we have to use the computer. In the banking, any kind of online transaction is working in the computer system. If you're using Bhim, Tej, UPI, Google Pay, these all things are connected to the computer system. Even if you consider for the ATM is a computer because it's a machine. We can use this in the education sector also, computer based education. We can use it in the army. There is the military control, military communication, any kind of communication. If you consider for the email, chatting, WhatsApp, Facebook, even video calling, that is done by the computer system. Even our government sector, if you apply for any PAN card, that is the through online portal. If you apply for the any kind of government activities, government information, that is available in the internet, that through the computer. So the application of a computer is the everywhere. In the next slide, we have to discuss the generation of a computer system. In 1946 to 1954, we have to use the first generation computer. In the first generation computer is the vacuum tube. After that, we have to discuss in 1954 to 1964, this is a transistor. Using transistor, we are implementing the computer system. In the 1964 to 1980, we have to use the third generation computer, which is use the IC, that is the integrated circuit. From 1980 to till now, we can say till now, that is the fourth generation computer we are using. Actually, they are implementing by the VLSI technique. And the fifth generation computer, that is the upcoming computer system that is connected to the artificial intelligence, that is connected to the different kind of upcoming technology, where is the computer is used smarter and better to understand the user requirement. Now we have to discuss the basic part of a computer. If you consider the base part of the CPU, you can see at the very first power supply is come to this particular box. This box is called the SMPS. Now, job of the SMPS is, in India, generally we have 220 volt power current. And this 220 volt power is converted to the 12 volt and the 5 volt. This power is goes to the motherboard. Now, if you consider in the motherboard, their power is come from this SMPS. Now, this motherboard have in this particular line, you can see that in the bottom line, these two lines are for the RAM module. That is our primary memory. We can put RAM in this particular location. And there is the processor, or we can say the heart of the CPU. This is the in middle of that, and it's doing their job. The another device is the optical drive, that is, we know that CD and DVD drive, and this is the hard drive, that is your hard disks. And there is the video card, we can say this is the graphics card, and we can use the computer monitor to see the whatever the output is. Thank you.